Hi everyone, welcome to our debate on empowerment versus care, where we're going to look at individuals with autism as they grow beyond their high school years, looking at making their own choices and reaching their fullest potential, and also consider their welfare and care. We really want to look at the fact that autism spectrum disorder is a lifelong disorder. Therefore, there's a big need for advocates and supports when they become adults. Findings by Taylor and Seltzer in 2010 stated that our current service system is inadequate to accommodate transition needs from school to adulthood. Vanberg and Kavanaugh in 2012 pointed out that with the increase of interventions in younger children, this leads to adults with ASD that are more prepared and qualified for post-secondary education or stimulating activities. So we need that empowerment and perspective to support that. Also, more supports are needed in a comparison study 12 years apart by Taylor and Seltzer, published in 2011. They stated more supports are needed. Underemployment persists for young adults with ASD. And this was compared from a study 12 years apart. Our ethical dilemmas that we're focusing on today are providing the most effective treatment and doing no harm. Can we be harming our clients if the treatment does not allow them their highest potential? We want to respect their autonomy, allowing the individual on the spectrum a voice in their process. And we want to make sure we're teaching them skills they need to live independently and not live at home. We also want to focus on dignity tonight, listening to the client, respecting what they want to do. It's our group's perspective from our research and prepping for this that we want to focus on empowerment and care, and this is needed for adults on the autism spectrum. There has been a growth on the focus for supports and early interventions for children. The need and focus now needs to turn to adults. Autism spectrum disorders, it's a lifelong disorder, and support needs are necessary for adults in helping them continue to develop beyond their school age years. This will allow for quality of life for the duration of their lives. And with that, we're going to really focus on three main topics today. We're going to look at sheltered workshops versus post-secondary education. We're going to look at clients living at home versus living away from home, and then also the aspect of intimate relationships. To get us started tonight, I'm going to introduce Sam, who will not be joining us for a debate. Sam is our client and our main discussion point. Sam is an 18-year-old higher functioning male with ASD. He wants to live on campus and attend Indiana University. He loves their basketball team, and he's very interested in video game design. From there, we'll go ahead and introduce our roles. I'm Celeste, playing the dad. I want him to go to college. I want him to live on campus when I'm out of the house, and I am against him and not very open to him having an intimate relationship.
I'm Sharon, and I will be playing the mom, and I am worried about Sam going to school. I've sheltered him most of his life, and I'm considering service program residential programming for Sam.
I am Sam's older sister. I just finished college myself, and although I do have some concerns about Sam moving out of the house, I do want to see him go to college to experience, get that experience, that best experience that he can, and continue to work on those social interactions away from home, because he has expressed to me interest in going off to college.
I'm Shalon. I'm a service provider. We have sheltered workshops and residential programming, and I'm here to advocate for the sheltered workshops and for Sam to live either independently in a waiver setting or a group home.
And I am John. I'm playing a BCBA that has worked with Sam for the past 3 years. Sam and I have worked on daily living skills, social skills, and he's responded well to those. So I'm going to be an advocate for involving Sam in the process and encouraging him to go to school, and also just more of a neutral point of view with living at home and the relationship piece, just offering my help wherever is possible.
with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. I would like to thank everyone for coming to this meeting. I really wanted to have this meeting. I'm definitely concerned about Sam and what he's going to be doing the next couple of years. I'm so sorry that Sam cannot be here today. He is at Video Game Club and they are having a tournament, and it was very necessary for him to be there tonight. So he is at Video Game Club. However, I did go ahead and do some research. I'm interested in Sam attending a sheltered workshop. Some of the research that I found shows that there is an inadequacy in the current service system to accommodate needs of youth with autism spectrum disorder without intellectual disability as they transition to adulthood. And so it was found that individuals with middle of the road level of behaviors cannot function independently enough to get a job that was supportive or competitive, but their behaviors are not concerning enough to be enrolled in like daytime activities. I also found that there was a possible therapeutic role in the development of adults with autism spectrum disorder. So I was looking around and trying to find something where some type of program to get into, and then I found this. I really want to share this video with you guys of what I found. Let me show you.
Hi, I decided to start Autism Works Now as a small business because 90% of individuals with autism and related disabilities are not employed after graduating from high school. Our mission at Autism Works Now is to create job opportunities for spectrum youth and kids through awareness and education.
So I found this video and I was wondering, does anybody have any advice on recommendations for sheltered workshops or something similar to this here in Indiana?
Yeah, actually I do. You know, shelter workshops can really have a lot of meaning for those who work there on a daily basis. And actually for those, research has found for those that have some sort of vocational activity daily, it actually can decrease autism symptoms as well as maladaptive behaviors. Not only that, but when they're employed in a shelter workshop, it is very controlled, it's safe, it's a safe environment. There's usually staff available to assist them with not only job duties, but skills, social skills, and any problems they might have. It's a steady income. And so that is really nice to know that they will always be making a paycheck. And it doesn't eliminate the possibility for other types of vocations or work.
I love that idea. I think that that would be perfect for Sam to be in a controlled and safe work environment and that he would be making enough money. That's exactly what I want because he can still be nearby. That's perfect. Perfect for Sam. Right up his alley. It doesn't.
I'm not a fan. No, sorry, honey. I'm not a fan of these sheltered workshops. I've done some reading. I think he's going to pay less. He wants to go to Indiana University. I think he's ready for it. I think, you know, the sheltered workshops, I've read that, you know, they make way less, anywhere from about $50 a month or a week less, you know, and it would even cost us more for him to be in them, so that there would be no balance. If he's making less than him or costing money to serve in the workshop, like, I'm just concerned about those things. BCBA John, what do you think? BCBA John, I can't quite hear you there.
Sorry about that. I was using my inside voice. Okay. So, Sam and I, we've worked on a lot of different social stories to help him with interactions in the community. We've worked on talking on the phone, ordering food, asking for help in school. I mean, you guys remember when we first started working with him, he had a lot of trouble with property destruction in the classroom. So let me show you this chart that we of what happened, pretty much right off the bat, as soon as we started introducing, social stories, using functional communication training to show them how to ask for help, those behaviors went down considerably. And he's kind of responded ever since to positive reinforcement and social stories. So I think that, while the sheltered workshop would be safe, I think he does have the ability to learn the skills that he might need to do something better, whether that's school or other types of jobs. I do know that since he's used the token economy for pretty much all the work that we've done together, if he's getting reinforced with money, if he's getting paid, that's going to be motivating for him. And I don't think we'll have to worry about him being, excited to do work. But in fact, in regard to other types of employment here in Indiana, the state's Family and Social Services Administration has a vocational rehab program that provides employment assistance for people with disabilities. Sam's really smart. He's talented. I think he could do the game design thing if he wants to. And if you decide that getting a job is right for him, I'd definitely check this out. In fact, let me show you a piece of this video that I found on their website that gives you a little more information about what services they provide.
Most of us go to work. Some of us right out of high school and some a little later. Need some support to get a job? Indiana Vocational Rehabilitation Services may be able to help.
What is vocational rehabilitation?
Indiana Vocational Rehabilitation Services, sometimes referred to as just VR, is an employment program for high school students and adults with disabilities. If you have an identified physical, mental health, or learning disability, VR can help you gain skills, find a job, start your first career, or discover a new one. VR can even help you if you already have a job but are struggling to keep it because of your disability.
How does it work?
First, you need to be referred to VR so they know you're interested in their services. We'll talk more about referral in a minute. Next, you'll meet with a VR counselor to complete an application. She will then see if you're eligible for VR services. Bring any relevant medical information about your disability to your first appointment. Your counselor may also ask you to participate in some evaluations. Don't worry, VR will pay for any medical or other type of evaluation they might need in order to determine your eligibility. Once your counselor determines your eligibility, you'll work together to develop an individualized plan for employment, or IPE. You may also do some activities to learn about different types of careers and what works best for you.
Is that it?
With your IPE guiding you, you'll work with your counselor and possibly with other service providers on things like writing a resume, interviewing skills, and on actually searching for a job. The last step in the process is case closure. That happens after you found a job. Work there for at least 90 days, and you and your counselor agree that things are going well.
Am I eligible for VR services too?
You're eligible if you have a physical or mental condition that makes it difficult for you to work, and if VR sees you need and could benefit from VR services.
Even if it doesn't look as if I have a disability?
Yes, even then. VR helps people with lots of different disabilities, like autism, back injuries, other physical impairments, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, or Parkinson's. They also help people who are deaf or hard of hearing, blind, or visually impaired, and people with less obvious challenges like learning disabilities, post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, or bipolar disorder.
How will VR?
So yeah, I thought something like this could be really relevant for Sam. It might be a route if he does stay at home. For us to explore those options, and if it's here in town, then I'd be able to support him with with whatever programs that they would come up with, and help him along the way.
That sounds so good.
I really want to look into him going to college. I really think he's really expressed to me that he wants to go to college. L'Oreal, I know he's mentioned that to you too. You've mentioned it to me. What have you two talked about?
Yeah, like I said earlier, we talked and he showed interest in Indiana University, because he loves video games. So like Mom says, he's at that tournament now, and so he can tell you everything about video games, who made them, how they make them. And they actually have a program at Indiana University where he can get a bachelor's degree in game design, which would be great. So he could incorporate what he likes into his schooling. And I've done some research too, as Mom has, to support what I think Sam should do. And him going to school will possibly increase his independence and further decrease his maladaptive behaviors. And also he'll have the option of getting, have the possibility of getting better paying jobs with his education rather than with the shelter workshops. And which Dad gave the numbers on those, they get paid a substantial amount less than others. And also people with autism spectrum disorders, they've been going to college for years. It's just more of a highlight now. I'm not quite sure why now, but I think that he totally has what it takes to go ahead and make it. So I want to push him. And also read another article by Taylor and Seltzer, and they found that 50% of youth with ASD without intellectual disability are pursuing post-secondary education. So it is possible that individuals with low autism symptoms and low maladaptive behaviors and high functioning independence can make it in those situations. And also I kind of heard BCBA brought it up earlier about how they were using a token economy with his reinforcement. And I was kind of thinking about the like a self-monitoring system while he's in college to further help him while he's there, because I know Mom has a lot of concerns about him going away, but we just, gotta help her get those out of her head. So I want to, help her as much, because I think it's more her than it is Sam being ready. And so that's pretty much all I have to say about it.
I don't think that's true at all. I am concerned about him socially. Like, you guys know that he dealt with this bully all this year, and now he's going to be going to college. I'm worried about the other students' reactions. Are they going to be open and supportive to him being there and what support he's going to need? What if there's another bully? Like, he's going to be too far away where we're not going to be able to help him. That's really concerning to me. Also, I'm trying to figure out, how are we going to pay for this? It's really expensive. We just sent you to college, and now to have to send Sam too, that's going to be pretty pricey.
I mean, Mom, as far as his social skills and his bullying thing, when that happened, BCBA kind of helped him work through that. And like he said, they worked on the social stories and all those social interactions and social skills and learning what to do in those situations, as far as like continue to work on his eye contact and his conversation skills and commenting and meeting people and greeting people and so on and so forth, all those things that they worked on and he's getting better at. And I mean, we just got to give him a chance to go out there and generalize those things, because him being in that, on that video, like with the shelter workshop, it looked like so confined. There's only like 5 other people in there. If he goes to college, he has a chance to meet so many people from all over the world. So that's what I want to push him to do. And I know Dad wants the same thing.
Yeah, go to college, Indiana University.
No, you should be near me.
Yeah, I mean, you make a really good point, and I think I concur. I think Sam's made great progress socially, and I mean, college will give us some new challenges. There's going to be different types of social interactions. I mean, there's going to be a need for him to know how to get around campus. There's going to be his schedule is going to be changing, locations of his classes. It's going to require definitely some more independence. But based on his success in the past, I don't see any reason why why he wouldn't be successful going forward. One thing I will say, Indiana University being in Bloomington, it's it's pretty far away, and I wouldn't be able to be there to give him the kind of service that he would need. So if we decide that he is going to go away, I'll work with you to make sure that those services are transferred, and that we get you guys referred to someone who could help down there. But I definitely think that he could succeed with that.
But he could also he could live at home.
Honey, no, he's ready to go to college. He's ready. The costs, the social stuff, all kids are mean in high school. They'll be fine in college. They're more open-minded. How we will pay for this, we've been paying for services since he was a kid. I think we'll just extend it onto there. We'll work through it. I've read that there's some grants possible for families or people on the spectrum or with needs that are going to college. So I think it's definitely a possibility we really need to be open to for him.
And something you can consider about as far as cost is concerned, and something that would give us some more flexibility from a time standpoint, is if Sam started earning college credits online. There's a lot of online universities that are available and are accredited that could, we could slow down that process if we decide that the cost of him living away from home and going to school is too much for right now, or that if we feel like we need more time for him to gain those skills so that he can be successful there. It's just a thought.
I totally agree. I think that that's a great idea. I actually did more research, and I found that 60% of adults in the U.S. with an intellectual disability remain living at home with their family. And I just think that would be great. If he took online classes, he could still be at home, and it would just provide me like a peace, just knowing that he's safe, that there's no bullies there, and then he can still enjoy all of our family activities. You know how we like to have our Sunday dinner. He could still be home for Sunday dinner. That would be perfect. And I'm just not so sure that he's totally ready to be living independently, completely on his own yet. He's my baby.
Honey, he's ready. We're ready for an empty nest. She's almost moved out. He's ready to go out. Let's have an empty nest. I've done some reading on my own, deciding, that he's ready to move away. That was an easy decision for me. That can be really hard. It was a really tough decision. It was hard to see our little cutie pie L'Oreal go off, but I think he's ready. And, it's going to take more involvement with him in preparation, but we've been working with him for so long, and BCBA's John's been working with him for a few years now. I think he's ready. I'm concerned about the social growth, especially if he stays at home. Honey, you're great, but you're his mom. Like, you can't be his best friend and his mom. So he needs to go to college to branch out. And, I'm worried about our stress if he stays in the home. I'm worried about, I just think we're ready for a next step with the kids moving out.
Well, and to add to that, it's a benefit for Sam to move out. It will increase his social skills, his interaction, and it's more of an age-appropriate lifestyle. He'll have people around him that are the same age, but as Dad just said, it's also a benefit to you guys because parental stress for those individuals who have children with autism is really high. The the rates of depression and anxiety um, among parents with children with autism is very high. The divorce rate is higher than the regular population. And so research says about 14% of those caregivers who are asked about their stress level say that their burden is very high when they have their adult children living at home. Also, their health status usually is worse. The stress leads to sleep deprivation, maybe the child being out and about or trying to run away. So there's a lot of benefits for having Sam live independently. It's healthier for you all.
I like you. Yeah, I agree.
And one thing that if he does live independently, from the social standpoint that we might want to consider is, the fact that he's a teenager, and I know that he does have some interest in girls. If he's off on his own, we need to make sure that he has some good education in regards to that with intimacy and just in relationships.
Oh, God.
What? No.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness.
Intimacy and girls and Sam do not.
No, I agree. No.
No, they totally do. We could. Oh my goodness, you guys! I have to show you this video.
Don't show them that video. No.
Yes, you have
No.
to see it. This could totally be Sam. This
Honey,
could totally be
don't
Sam.
do it. You've shown me this video 10 times. Don't show
But
it.
no, it's totally. You have to see it. It is perfect.
You can't control it.
Oh, I apologize.
I sat down with him and his girlfriend who explained that tough decision was close.
I saw her, and I wanted to see my teacher.
Tim Harris and Tiffany Johnson met at the National Down Syndrome Congress convention. I think that I met him. I love those. The two started dating this summer. I think it's the most amazing thing I've ever met in my life. But Tiffany lives in Iowa, and it hasn't been easy being apart. They decided it's time to be together in Denver.
Because I'm a huge Denver fan. And another girlfriend.
I'm kidding. Tim said they actually picked Denver because Tiffany was already moving there to be closer to family. But it meant leaving behind his first love.
I always wanted the restaurant and the out here.
Tim's place will close Sunday at 2.
There's a ton of kids there. I've been crying a lot.
You know, it's Tim's first, and that's the restaurant in Northeast Albuquerque has been Tim's home for the past 5 years. It's the only known restaurant owned and operated by a person with Down syndrome, and where his famous hugs are on the menu. To date, he's given more than 75,000. It's a place about happiness. So Tim says you're not allowed to get sad pulling a 5. But even Tiffany tears up when talking about the restaurant closing. That's something that's not lost on Tiffany. Oh my God, you have to love it. She says she's waited a long time to find someone like Tim. Both say it's time for the next chapter.
See, this is totally perfect. This could totally be Sam. And look, they moved closer to her family because it's so important.
So Mom.
Next to us.
No. So listen, Mom, you want Sam to stay home and get a girlfriend and live at home and be at home with the girlfriend and then get married and have babies and still live at home, right?
I want him in love. I mean, maybe I'll adapt eventually. I'm just not ready for him to leave just yet. Maybe if he found a girlfriend, you know, he still needs to live nearby. Just like you, I still want you guys to live near me so I can still pop in on you. But I want him to find love. I would love for him to experience that.
I'm not ready for that. Nope, I never thought of it. I'm not ready for it.
Well, you know, people with disabilities want the same things as you and I. It's not unusual for them to want to have intimate relationships. And, you know, living at home, there is the privacy factor. And many of them, unfortunately, don't get that experience to have an intimate relationship when they're living with their parents or with other caregivers. There's a really great quote that I'd like to share, especially for sister and dad. And it's by a researcher who said, if we ban the opportunity of the population with disability from expressing their sexuality, we are preventing satisfying basic needs for their growth and development as individuals.
I don't know. I just never really thought of this. I don't think he's ready. He's never mentioned it before. I don't see how that'll change. I really don't think, you know, it'd be appropriate for us to expose him to different things or prep him for that. Like, I understand getting him ready to do his laundry, but I don't understand how to get him ready for any type of relationship or girls or anything like that.
Well, I don't know. Like, now I feel a little different because I don't want to, like, deny him his rights as a human being. And so, like, now I just want to get him prepared, you know, so I would rather us teach him and us talk to him the right way about it before he goes, let's just say that he does end up going to college and he gets around those college guys and girls and then he learns the wrong way, because we all know how the college guys and girls can be on those campuses. They can act a little wild and crazy. And so we don't want him to learn that way. So I would rather us talk to him. I wouldn't have a problem if he came to me or if I had to go to him. Or Dad, you might have to have that conversation with him. Or Mom, Mom, you would be the last option, but you know, I'm sure you know, BCBA John can kind of prep us for that, and you know, if a program has to be written or how we would go about doing that. But like I said, I just would rather do it the right way and answer his questions now before he goes out into the world and starts looking at stuff on his iPad or asking his friends, and you know, it ends up kind of inappropriate. So Dad, it's real world stuff. So I mean, we got to deal with it.
No.
You know, I think you're absolutely right. It's you know, we need to first of all, like, talk to him about it. I mean, it's kind of a taboo subject. You know, I'm sure you guys don't, you know, he's your baby. You don't think about him in that way, but we need to, like, open up that conversation and find out what he's thinking, find out what's going to be satisfying for him. And also just make sure that he's got the right education going into it, because like L'Ariel said, you know, he could very easily find a lot of information that's misleading, which could, you know, put him in harm's way, either from being taken advantage of or from not understanding boundaries, and, you know, getting himself in trouble without intending to, but, you know, crossing boundaries that he shouldn't be crossing because he doesn't understand those. So I think it's something that is important that we address, but we should also do so with caution and make sure that he knows, or, you know, he has the support that he needs to be as successful as possible.
Well, I think that makes sense. I think, you know, getting him ready for that step is, you guys have opened up those doors for me. Definitely wasn't thinking about that when we sat down for this conversation, but
Hi, Wes.
sense. Honey, I know you've been prepared for this. I've been just ignoring you, but I think it makes sense. I think it will help him, you know, then maybe eventually get out. I think this is a good first step, focusing on prepping him for the relationships.
So to conclude our debate tonight, our group, we believe that individuals with intellectual disabilities should be given the right to make their own choices, whether it's to work or to further education, that they should be able to choose where to live, whether it's with their parents or caregiver independently. And then individuals should be able to choose whether they want to have a loving adult relationship or a friendship, but also be allowed to have that education about how to go about it. We're going to take a few questions from our audience. The first question I will actually address, and it is, what is in the best interest of the adult with ASD, to live at home or independently or in a residential program? Really, this is up to the client and the guardian. Really, it's their decision what is going to suit their needs the best, especially for the family stressors. Adults with disabilities, no matter the severity level, they want independence and they want to live like everyone else. And they want to have the same freedoms that they see all the other adults having. So if a residential program or a waiver program is staffed, there is no reason why the individuals can't have a happy quality life even without the staff. So really it depends, but there's no reason why they can't be independent. Our next question.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll take the next question. The question is, how can BCBAs professionally mediate between parents who are disagreeing, especially about their adult child with ASD getting ready to grow and enter a new phase of their development? I think this is kind of the, it's a tricky place when you have disagreement, but it's very important. You know, as a BCBA, we have a responsibility to act in the best interest of the client, who is Sam, or in this case, but the parents or the caregivers are critical to their success. You know, if you don't have your parents on board with the behavioral interventions that you're trying to put in place to help the client, it's going to be an uphill battle. And so in the case like this, first I would involve Sam or any client as much as possible. You know, it's the more ethical way to go. You know, we need to be involving them in the process, and also probably hearing it from Sam or the client. Parents are going to be more receptive to and more understanding of what they actually need and what they want. So, and then if, you know, of course, if disagreements continue, we would look for any compromises we could find, up to and including even referrals to other service providers if we could not successfully put behavioral interventions in place because of non-cooperation from the caregivers. Yeah, ideally with an open conversation, we'd reach a compromise and find a solution that works for everybody. One more question.
I will go ahead and address the last question, which is, what ethical codes do we need to consider when thinking of empowerment versus care? So there are many ethical codes to consider when thinking of empowerment versus care. And I would say that 4.02, involving the clients in planning and consent, making sure that they're involved, that they have a voice, that their voice is being heard. Also making sure to provide individualized change programs, which is 4.03 are the main codes I would say to consider, but we also need to make sure that we maintain 2.07, which is maintaining client records and data, to make sure that we ensure a smooth transition. If your client is transitioning to college or different things like that, you may need to have all of your data ready to hand off to the next paraprofessional, as well as 4.11, when your client is ready, discontinuing behavior change programs. We need to make sure that we're mindful of how to discontinue behavior change programs when your client has finished and is ready to transition, making sure that we are being ethical when doing so. We would like to thank you for watching our presentation of empowerment versus care.
And here are our references.